Will Luffy become Pirate King? Will this happen or this way too obvious? Lately I've been noticing a large amount of parallelisms between what we know of Roger's story and Luffy's quest to become Pirate King. This got me thinking if their parallelisms are something much more important than just coincidences. With every new arc it seems that not only Luffy aims to be Pirate King, but it seems as though he's destined to do it. Many characters that we know were directly involved with Gol D. Roger seem to have an equivalent for Luffy. To name a few: Smoker and Garp. We know that Garp and Roger had a long relationship that existed even past Roger's death. Roger trusted Garp enough to take care of his own son. It's safe to assume that Smoker and Luffy's relationship will eventually reach a level of trust similar to that. Luffy sees Smoker similar to a rival, and he wants to oppose him fairly. That's why he didn't want to fight him, Tashigi, when their minds were flipped. Rayleigh and Zorro. Rayleigh was Roger's right-hand man and second in command. This is a direct link to Luffy and Zorro. It's safe to assume that Rayleigh was the strongest out of Roger's crew simply based off of the fact that he had mastered all forms of Haki which he taught to Luffy. It was recently confirmed that Zorro can use Haki, but the full extent of his abilities have yet to be shown. Oro Jackson and Thousand Sunny / Tom and Frankie. The Straw Hat Pirates and the Roger Pirates both had ships from Adam wood, which is the strongest known wood in existence. Both ships were built by a shipwright who in his time was in possession of the blueprints for Pluton. This might can be discarded because Frankie was Tom's protege, but I believe that it's worth mentioning. Hearing Sea Kings. Aside from Shirahoshi, who is Poseidon, the only two other people who are known to be able to hear Sea Kings are Luffy and Roger. I believe that the connect that will be made soon enough is that Law will be Luffy's equivalent to Roger's Whitebeard. Law and Whitebeard are both extremely strong pirates, but I don't believe that either of them is as strong as Luffy or Roger. If this is true, then it is likely that Law will become a Yonko very soon. It's becoming more and more obvious that Monkey D. Luffy is the future Pirate King. In the opening song, We Go, it shows Gol D. Roger, the former Pirate King, wearing Luffy's straw hat, then Shanks, who is one of the Yonko, and then Luffy. Also his name, D. I keep hearing about the will of D, but I'm still not sure what it is, but I think it has to do with becoming extremely powerful and having the ability to do the impossible and reach their dreams. I don't know, I'm just guessing. Earlier on in the manga, when they were still in Log Town, the bartender who once served Roger said that he resembled him in spirit, I guess, and Smoker said that the only other person who had smiled at his own execution was Roger, just like Luffy did when Buggy and Alvita tried to kill him, and failed obviously. There's also how Luffy and the Straw Hats managed to go to Skypia and back just like Roger's crew did before, how Roger could hear the sea, the animals and the trees. In the first few episodes when Luffy first defeated Moji and Ricky, Buggy's lackeys, he seemed to understand Shushu, and after fighting the Camp 9 he could hear Going Merry as well. Roger and Luffy are both from East Blue, and one of Luffy's adoptive brothers, Porgas Diaz, is Roger's son. And how Luffy's granddad was the one who caught Roger. He knows Shanks, Buggy and Rayleigh, who were all on Roger's crew, and Rayleigh was Roger's first mate, also Luffy's sensei for 2 years. He was even acknowledged and had a conversation as equals with Whitebeard, the greatest pirate after Gol D. Roger, who used to be close friends with him. When the Straw Hats, Rayleigh, Shaky, Haki, Kami and Papage were at Shaky's bar, Rayleigh noted the resemblance between Luffy and Roger, how he says, "I don't want to conquer anything. It's just that the person with the most freedom on the sea is the Pirate King," is very similar to what Gol D. Roger said before. When Roger died, it was a turning point in an era. After the war in Marineford, Luffy turned a new era, And later, after the 2-year time skip, there were even more resemblances. Luffy could use King's Haki, which only a selected few could use, and Zorro, who was unofficially Luffy's first mate, had a scar over his left eye just like Rayleigh does. Before Luffy departs to Fishman Island, he tells Rayleigh once again, "Rayleigh, I'll become the Pirate King." And this somehow reminds him of the olden days where he was first asked by Roger to join his crew and how cheerful he seemed, just like Luffy is now. Then at Fishman Island the Sea King said he could understand them, and only one man could do that before, and that was Roger. So the question is, do you think Oda is being way too obvious and making the end too predictable? Can you think of any other connections between Roger and Luffy? Any guesses to how One Piece will end? Luffy finding One Piece won't be the end of the series. I do believe that he will fight against his biggest pirate nemesis here, Blackbeard, over the title of Pirate King in the actual One Piece, but it won't be the end. I personally believe that the One Piece will actually trigger the giant event that Oda mentioned in a recent interview, the one that was going to make Marineford look like nothing. So what do you guys think?